So we got this video here by Think Before You Sleep. I think I've done one video reaction on them like 2 years ago. I think I disagree with them. I really don't remember the specifics. I think it was about Roma Army. I don't know. So there's that. And this is about Drew Afualo. Am I saying it right? I think I said it wrong already. I just looked it up. Wait.
Drew Afualo.
Drew Afualo. I'm going to keep saying Afualo, though, because it just... I can't do it. Anyway, and it says TikTok's best gaslighter. Now, me personally, I don't know if she's a gaslighter. What I do know is that Drew's content is certainly not for me. Even when it's operating reasonably, I know it sounds like everything today, it's still, it's just so, I don't know. It's just not for me. It's boring. It's obnoxious with the laugh. Don't like it. My issue with Drew, though, is like I don't really care that she wants to return the same energy to people who, you know, are misogynistic or whatever. That's fine. If a guy's like making inappropriate comments about a girl, be my guest. Go off, sis. But there's times where she just like pearl clutches. Like I always reference this video. She made a video where this one kid just made a joke about signing his girlfriend up for the draft because she likes to fight. He's like, I'm signing my girl for the draft because she likes to fight. She went on like a 3-minute tirade about how like ugly he is, blah blah blah. This is the problem, and this is a problem when it comes to a lot of content creators once they run out of content. That she's just like, she'll be in some instances, I'm not saying it's all or even most of the time, but there's some instances where she just gets it so incredibly wrong that it just shows to me that she's just looking for content to try to make it seem like there's more misogyny on the platform than there is. And realistically speaking, they censor a lot of the misogyny on the platform, certainly more than the misandry, I'll tell you that. Though, but it's just obnoxious. I'd be more okay with it, though, if like you were allowed to respond in a more reasonable way. But like, if you make a joke about her, you know, your video gets removed. It's the truth. TikTok like, over polices some stuff. So it's frustrating. Anyway, let's watch it.
I want to talk about something to clarify something. Whenever fuckwit dudes want to come to me and be like, this is why I think that Drew is actually extremely harmful, they try to say this. Why don't you try listening? Like, why don't you try like debating someone then? My response to that is very simple. No, bitch, I'm not doing that. And when I say that with no explanation, the Neanderthals go like this. See, she knows that she would get owned in an argument.
Well, yeah, okay, so for her perspective, it's just going to be like, I don't care. I just like to be antagonistic and hateful. She doesn't really care. There's no depth to her content. Like, I think at one point she claimed that she's trying to fight back. She's not really fighting back. She just likes to be kind of an asshole, just like everybody else. She doesn't really care, though. Like, yeah, of course she's not going to have a conversation because, like, she doesn't care enough to have a conversation. There's no depth to any of the things that she does. There's no like actual logical sound reasoning other than like I like to be obnoxious, which is fine. But that's why she's not going to do it.
First of all, you can't even win an argument with your own genetics. You think you could win an argument with me?
Really? Because that's exactly what someone would say if they were afraid to debate. Sun Tzu once said that if you're strong, pretend you're weak. If you're weak, then pretend you're strong. Well, Drew is pretending to be strong, so what does that say about her?
That's a weird criticism, but okay.
Moreover than that, why on God's green earth would I lend my time and my ear to someone who quite literally doesn't think that I am an equal human to them? Why would I wait?
But that's the problem, is that's a fair criticism that she just made. That's actually a fair criticism because the largest content creators that want to like debate Drew tend to be manosphere people. Most of the time. I'm not saying all the time, but I'm saying most of the time they tend to be manosphere people that like already are kind of sexist. So yeah, of course she's not going to debate those people. There's nobody that's like, I guess, on her level content-wise, career-wise, view-wise, that is like reasonable and respectful in their criticisms. And then even if they were, then like she doesn't benefit because she'd lose that conversation.
Waste my fucking time platforming someone who genuinely believes that women are lesser than. Why would I do that?
Fair,
how many times have we heard the Anita Sarkeesian types use this line to avoid discourse?
Nah, she's right, man. She's kind of right. I don't know. She's kind of right with the manosphere shit. She's kind of right.
I won't debate because I don't want to platform these kinds of people. Here's the thing. If you are so good at debate, then them being a terrible person is wonderful because you can then use that debate.
Right, but she's never claimed that she's a good debater. So she's not like, I'm a great debater, I just won't do it. So this argument doesn't really work.
To expose them, which will boost your viewership while destroying theirs. If you have such powerful conversational skills, then this should be really easy for you.
Right, but
anyway, this is Drew Afualo, a strong, independent, rising TikTok star who attacks misogyny and gives men who don't share her political views the mean words they deserve. yet plays the victim when mean things are said about her.
Yes.
If I was a small white woman, if I was a white man, they would never treat me the way that they treat me now.
Because you'd be attractive. I'm just kidding. It has nothing to do with your whiteness. You know, in America, I'm trying to really starting to think, because I feel like I really feel like our Western beauty standards are shifting away from like pale skin to like her color. Like I feel like that, what would you call like a mocha color skin is probably more in line with like the Western beauty standard, or not Western, American beauty standards nowadays. Like usually like that little bit thicker, you know, like not quite white, but like a little dark skin, not dark skin, you know what I mean? Like light skin, is that what they call it? Lighter skin, like voluptuous. She kind of is, she's somewhat in line with the looks. I'd say closer to like some basic white bitch.
Takes this all out of context, so none of us have any idea exactly what she's referring to. But if people are saying bad things about you, then they probably aren't doing it because of your sex and race. It's more likely a mixture of, welcome to the internet, everyone here gets shit on, and because you constantly say stuff like this.
And you can go fuck yourself, bitch. Or you can just suck my ass.
I wish somebody could censor. I wish this guy censored his video, but just with her laughs. You know, just with her laughs.
It's either this, or it's that super annoying laugh that you use in your videos.
No, I said censor it. Don't play it on repeat. Oh my God, I just went to Party City. This is literally me going to Party City with my wife, and she steps on all like the plates that activate all like the clowns. They go, and they start doing that. And it's when I'm in the store, I get there's an amount of rage that fills my body almost. And if you could visualize it, it's the same as when kids are raising money for a good cause and they put the thermometer and they color it in red when they hit their goals. That's how my body feels as I walk through Party City with my wife, because that's just how it is. This is that, but only the bad parts of Party City, not the cool parts where I get to swing around a fake bat and be like, yeah, look at me, I'm cool. Jesus Christ.
Good God, this laugh makes nails on chalkboard sound like Mozart.
Yeah,
and it's fair game to make fun of it, even by woke standards, because this is not her natural laugh. In her older videos, there's no sign of it. She actually developed this over time. Here's one of the prototype laughs from an older video before she found the right tune.
You guys want to know something that just... Oh my gosh, it's going to send me to the loony bin.
Most of Drew's content...
It sounds like she's kind of close to her laugh there. But that's an interesting assertion. I need to see a few more of her laughs. But if she's intentionally creating that antagonistic laugh, then you could probably start to consider an argument. I wouldn't say I would affirm the argument that she's doing it on purpose because she knows people hate it, and so like part of her content is hate farming, which I think is fair. Because she does kind of hate farm a little bit.
It centers around what she calls reactive content against people who say mean things to people on her ideological team, unprovoked. Which is a fancy way of saying, I can say whatever mean and offensive stuff I want and still be perceived as a good
It's not all unprovoked
person because I'm just reacting to misogyny.
My philosophy has always been this. If you're going to attack someone...
I'm hoping this guy shows some of like good, solid examples of it. But again, I've seen some solid, like I saw one time some girl was just doing her makeup, and then which is just a normal thing to do. And this guy was like, oh, this is what we hate women. They're all so fake. They're all this, that, all that. And then just going on like a rampage. Like that is like generally sexist. Like I would consider that sexist. Like it's obnoxious. You don't need to shit on women for wearing fucking makeup. Okay. You don't need to go, or else we're going to start shitting on guys for like wearing hats. You know what I mean? Because I'm bald. What? You know what I mean? Like you don't need to go out. Like there's other shit like that. There's some decent takes that she has. You know, when she goes after like manosphere guys, like, you know, like the Fresh and Fit. Like I remember seeing a couple of those videos in my rundown. Like those were fun. She's her criticisms are annoying to watch, but like they're not for me. They're still like, I guess you'd say, morally sound. Does that make sense? Or like ideologically sound? Like it makes sense. You're just kind of fighting fire with fire. But there's times where she just fucking pearl clutches and creates fake, you know. And she like, you know, she reacts to things that don't require a reaction.
Unprovoked. If you are gonna call someone ugly, unprovoked, you better be carved from fucking marble, bitch. Everything I say is intentional.
My understanding back then, carved from marble. Apparently, they valued smaller pee-pee sizes. So, you better have a small penis if you're going to come after Drew Afualo, guys.
And on purpose. Everything I say to them specifically...
Yeah, TikTok does have a gender war. It's fucking obnoxious.
...is meant to be mean.
Okay.
No. A good person exposes evil without stooping down to the level of their opponent. And the reason you strive...
Well, see, again, I don't like that criticism there. Like, if there are videos where she's accurately, like, responding with the same energy... you can't give her the criticism of like, well, you shouldn't be so antagonistic. The original person also shouldn't be so antagonistic. So for her to meet some of the content people at the same level, that's perfectly fine within her like boundaries. I don't like the over policing, like where it's like, well, I know that guy like punched you in the face, but you have to just wag your finger. You can't hit him back. No, I'm gonna hit them back, right? That's reasonable. Is it ideal? Probably not, but we don't have to live in an ideal society. So if she's clapping fire back with fire, I'm okay with it because it's like a neutral thing. Even if I don't prefer that type of content. I prefer, types of content that doesn't stoop to the same level. However, the issue is when people aren't being misogynistic and she pretends that they are so that she can create content. That is the actual problem. Because I don't fundamentally like that kind of weird over policing of the reaction instead of of the reaction. You know what I mean?
To do that is because if you keep using more and more degenerate tactics to win the fight, then eventually you'll burn everything down. Plus, in this case, Drew and people like her literally call everything misogyny, so that word has no meaning. Let's go back to that first video.
But I digress. In the midst of them spinning their fucking wheels to like try and get a valid reason why they just don't like me, that's not tied to like outright bigotry. So if you want to circle,
it's just a laugh, bro. The laugh
with other misogynists, get your own show, bitch.
Oh please, you give people a lot of reasons to not like you. After that line, she then goes on to cope about why she won't debate. Also, here's another example of her saying that if you don't like her, you're a misogynist.
I think that you probably should have started off with more examples of her bad content, because so far you're kind of just going into this with people who already don't like Drew, and they're like, yep, she's terrible. And it's like,
like, I don't know why this bitch is a platform. She's not even funny. And this is coming from a bitch with no platform, right? Their idea of funny is like being a bigot, being racist, being fatphobic, being misogynistic.
True. That's so funny. You know what I mean? It's funny. That is funny humor. That's just men's humor, and she wouldn't get it because she's a silly girl. You know what I mean? But like, who doesn't have the friend group and you guys are just all racist to each other? Isn't that the most fun? Those are real friends. You know what I'm saying? That's something I don't think women understand that. Like, for real, guys are such pieces of shit to each other. But we have better friendships than women. For guys, we can make fun of each other for height, weight, race, everything. Doesn't matter. Nothing's off limits. But for women, the second that you say that your nails are a little chipped, all of a sudden, ah! Oh, you hear Veronica? What a fucking bitch. I hate that bitch. Blah, 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 bitch, 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 bitch. It's crazy. Women, bitches be tripping. Am I right, guys? It's kind of true. I'm goofing a little bit. But it is a little bit true. It's a little bit true. I'm just being real with you, okay?
Yes, because having taste in humor that is different from yours immediately makes someone else a bad person.
True.
Well, to morally grandstand,
I agree.
I do have to say that I think Drew is actually funny, and she genuinely made me laugh a few times while doing research for this video. I just don't like her ideology. But in terms of woke people,
really?
I would much prefer her to someone like...
Why'd she make you... Can you show me the videos you thought were funny? That's weird.
Like Amy Schumer, Hannah Gatsby, or Lily Singh. Though I'm not sure how her humor is not considered misandrous by her own standards. I've watched like 40 of her videos, and I have never seen her crap on women. Not even once. Not very equal, right? The worst thing I've heard her say about women is, it makes me sad when they disagree with me.
I have women coming after me. It's very, very...
Why does she have to go after women? If her whole... Wait, I'm a little confused.
Her videos, and I have never seen her crap on women.
Well, who cares? So this is the thing, is that like people just going to have different content. If her content centralizes around calling out toxic, misogynistic people, so be it. The better criticism is saying like, hey, I feel like sometimes TikTok over polices content that calls out misandrist. That's a fair criticism, but that's a TikTok criticism. Drew doesn't have to call out all sexism. She can just call out one type if she wants. I don't really care.
Even once. Not very equal, right? The worst thing I've heard her say about women is, I don't think she's ever claimed to be equal. It's not like she's saying that like she stands for equality between men and, well, she probably does say that. I don't know. I've never really seen her say something like that, though. She's not like a voice of I guess she once mentioned fighting back against the power. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Makes me sad when they disagree with me.
I have women coming after me. It's very, very, very rare. But when I do get it, that's the only time that I kind of feel like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Even though I think
quit.
roast humor is funny, and she does have some pretty good roast, I, however, don't appreciate Drew's hypocrisy. I also don't enjoy the whole everything is misogyny bit. But let's see an example of what she calls misogynistic.
Okay, good.
Now, before I show this, I'm going to cut some of the audio because it contains music. I don't want to get copyright claimed, and because the audio portions with the music aren't really relevant to the story. Anyway.
Your pussy wasn't good. It was just available that night. Damn. Did you censor the left?
First off, before we get into the content, I went ahead and took a look at your profile to add to my research. Let me show y'all what I saw.
You learn a lot about it.
Also, I feel like it's necessary I tell you that you have one of the most unathletic runs I've ever fucking seen in my life, bitch. Haven't clocked many behind the wheel hours, have you? I can tell. Because like my friend Lucas said, those sweatpants, they're damning evidence. That's all I'm gonna say. If I were you and I was gonna make this shitty ass misogynistic content, I would wear something that leaves a little more to the imagination, friend. And last, but certainly not least, your hair looks like Hershey's magic shell sauce.
By your own
Yeah, so I mean, this one is a guy starting off saying, like, I guess you'd say, I guess you'd say that he's just being a little sexist because he's saying your pussy wasn't good, it was just available. I mean, I personally think that she took a little too personally, but I just don't care. When you're making, this guy here is making rage bait content. So if you're going to make rage bait content, somebody takes the bait, like, I just don't care. So, like, this isn't, like, an example where I'd give a singular fuck about what Drew's doing. I just don't care. It's the same thing when that fucking one person, I made a video about it. I put it on my Papa Got Leftovers channel. Like, it's the same thing when this person makes their content. It's all rage bait. So when people react and like, "Oh my god, you're so annoying," it's the same thing to me. Even though the reactions are disproportionate to what they're doing, I don't care because you're rage baiting. If you're a rage baiter, like you get what you get what you paid for. You know what I mean? So
by your own rules of only doing reactive content to bad people, how exactly is this misogyny that justifies you making fun of his appearance? Again, this is a person who will call you fatphobic or a misogynist if you make fun of her appearance.
Love the drag towards fat women for literally no reason at all. Before I say a fucking thing, before I say a word,
what's she saying this?
It has a lot of content fat shaming women.
Way to say that you can dish it out, but you can't handle it when it's said about you. Now, personally, I don't agree with woke people on this one. I think commentary on someone's appearance is free speech and therefore a fair game, especially if it's something they can change. Also, even though they say it's wrong, clearly woke people believe it's okay to make fun of people's appearances because they do it all the time towards people they disagree with, even for appearance factors that can't be changed. Certainly Drew does that. Now, for a second, let's go back to that other guy. Here he says, don't be friends with a guy who has a lot of crazy exes. How is this misogynistic? He's actually making a commentary on the guy, not women.
Sure. Types of guys that will ruin your life. All his exes are crazy. Sure, I guess
also, homophobic much? I mean, it says exes here, not ex-girlfriends.
I guess. That's just a weird... I wonder what this guy's thing is.
Did you just assume their gender? Even the original video that she's responding to is not misogynistic.
Okay.
He's not saying, I hate women, women bad. He's saying a particular girl was not good in bed. That is not an example of prejudice against an entire group of people for what they were born as. Do you want to see a real example of prejudice? This is what that looks like.
I think white supremacy is really ironic considering how aggressively mediocre white people are at everything.
This is so stupid. I guess so. I don't know. I feel like that's just a stupid joke. That was the first funny thing I've ever heard Drew say. It's kind of funny. I guess so. White people, I guess, are kind of mediocre. At least for what I've seen, white people are a little more mediocre. Maybe it's just consider the status quo because we're the fucking best. When we're working on normal mode, of course it seems normal, motherfucker. I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking around. But yeah, I just don't care. I guess I just don't give a shit. I feel like the gender war is so fucking obnoxious.
That statement was racist. And if you think that it doesn't count because it's against people who were born white, then you're still a racist.
Well, what do you mean born white? Fucking are white. What the hell does that mean, born white? What's she saying?
Bad. They were born.
It is really ironic considering how aggressively mediocre white people are at everything.
True. I would say, see, I could just make a reverse joke. I think that black supremacy is kind of ironic considering they're not good at anything. Of course, I'm actually kidding, though. That was an actual joke. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of stupid and funny. I don't really give a shit.
Still a racist.
I don't know.
Drew, can you start to see why people may have some bad things to say about you?
Yes,
Be honest with yourself. There is so much hypocrisy here. She makes all these statements about how she doesn't care about mean comments, but she obviously is lying.
A lot of them are trying to get in my comments and hurt my feelings. And guess what, bitch? You never met my mom, so you can't hurt my feelings. They regenerate at superhuman speed.
I just want to take a second to go.
It's a little weird that she's talking about it so much.
Over the science here. If your feelings have to regenerate, then it means they got hurt. But you clearly do care because
like Piccolo.
Because you get all offended whenever anybody mentions obesity.
5'11", for me at least. Just taller than me.
Yeah, I saw this video on TikTok. It was kind of rude because everybody was shitting on this girl just for being fat. Like, it was shitty. I remember seeing it. I was thinking about talking about it, but I'm like, But like, yeah, they were just fucking with this girl. I think they were just asking like height preferences, right?
Biggest shorty, but taller than.
Listen.
For me, at least.
Who cared?
Yeah, they were shitting on her because the guy asked them, like, what's your height preference? And she's like, oh, like 5'11" is my height preference. Who cares? She's allowed to have a height preference. And everybody in the comments was like dunking on her for being fat. Like, it was stupid. Like, it was boring. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're talking about. And that's like one of those kind of misogynistic things. You can consider it misogynistic because I feel like women, and I think that this is general in society, women tend to be valued for their bodies more than anything else, right? So everybody's just like, oh, this girl can't set a standard for her height because she's fat. It's like, well, or maybe you call it fat phobic. I don't really care. Why? There's fat, tall guys. I'm fucking 6'4", 350 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of, I'm okay with this one. Like, what I mean, I guess maybe she could say something out of line, but it was just stupid. That's the whole comments are just full of, oh, you're fat. You should be take what you like. You know what I mean? It's shitty.
Taller than me. I'll take a shorty, but taller than.
Listen, absolutely no beef with these three queens. I will say this though, men that still make content like this, where they do street interviews and ask like purposely antagonistic things, there's a special place in hell for you, buddy.
It's not just men. I would say that it's not just men. Everybody does it. Everybody. So the fundamental criticism, because she's not wrong. That was actually a decent criticism. I'm surprised it was so reined in. But you really shouldn't be like just making it about men specifically. But that's the goal. When you do these type of on the street content, what you'll do is you'll be out there for hours. So let's say you're out there for 3 hours just to make 10 minutes of content. And what you do is you walk up to people, you ask them questions because you want an answer. Every single person who does on the street content is doing it to explicitly push a particular narrative. I haven't seen a single on the street content that wasn't about that, right? So like if you're somebody that wants to go to, let's say there's a bunch of men actually protesting for men's rights, perfectly reasonable thing. They're trying to raise awareness for like high attempt rates in men and stuff like that. And I decided to go there. And I'm like, you know what? I want to run the narrative that men hate women. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to interview people for 3 hours and I'm going to ask pretty antagonistic questions. Most of them aren't going to give me sexist answers, but there's going to be a couple of guys who might be using this particular event to be sexist against women. So I'm going to interview them and everybody else, but after I come home and edit it, I'm only going to show those guys that were being sexist. That's what on the street content is. 100%. That's what the content is. So fundamentally, you should always be careful of this on the street content, because I remember there was this one girl. She was going around and she, you know, that thing where it's like, oh, take $1, or you can give $2 to the next person. I'll double it, move it on, and it's like 4. And then, you know, they did a cookie one, and the girl actually exposed them for it. It was pretty fucked up. So there was a cookie one, and this girl walked up to this other girl, and she's like, "Hey, listen, just take the deal that I go for." And the girls happen to be overweight. Let me see if I can find it. And she made the girl look like she was just taking the cookies because she was fat, to try to like be fat phobic towards that girl. Like, that was the whole thing. I'm trying to see if I can find that. I post so much content on this account, so it's like a little difficult. But that was the whole entire goal of that, was just to shame her. And to try to push it like, you know, just have like a fucking laugh at her expense, even though like she wouldn't have originally taken it. And so that is what like this type of on the street content is really all about. I don't think it's this far down. I don't remember what I labeled the video, but that really is what this on the street content is about. It's really, a lot of times it's just about bullying the shit out of people. So that's just the reality.
She's right. These kinds of street interview videos are stupid. But let's continue with Drew completely ignoring the double standard of height and weight.
These three women were actually very respectful with this answer. But
what do you mean double standard?
Did the men in the comment section return this favor? No, of course they fucking didn't. Next up. This is a real common comment. They're like, yes, queen. Next up.
It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. What do you mean?
Men love to equate. They love to equate height to weight.
What exactly was so bad about those? There was one comment talking about the girl's weight, and then the others were just pointing out the double standard that women can go on and on about how they want a tall guy, but people like Drew will lose their mind if guys start saying they want a woman who is thin.
So okay. God, there's so much here. So fundamentally speaking, ask your, like, realistically speaking, first of all, I remember looking through I remember looking through the comments. It wasn't just one guy making fun of her. It was an onslaught of people making fun of her weight. Like, let's not pretend that it was just one dude. It was a lot of people.
Next up, men love to equate. They love to equate height to weight.
What exactly was so bad about those? There was one comment talking about...
Yeah. So it wasn't just one person. It was a lot of people. That being said, there's a difference between respectfully, and this is just the thing, fundamentally, it's about respect. Respectfully answering a question versus being antagonistic. On TikTok, when men don't like a fat girl, usually they're just making fun of her for being fat. They're not like, hey, I don't really like overweight women. They're just like, ew, fat, right? And I'm not going to lie. There are some women who make fun of short men. That happens as well. But I see more like fat women hate than I see anything else. If someone walked up to you on the street and said, hey, do you like overweight women? And I was like, no. And you said like, no, I'm not, that's not really my type. That's perfectly fine. Nobody's crying about that. It's when you're being antagonistic about them being fat. It's just not like, and Drew, in this guy's defense, Drew's argument here is just like not good. She's like, oh, men love to equate. Men love to equate. Like, she's not making a reasonable argument. She's not making a nuanced take. What she's doing is she's taking her life experience of probably being fat shamed and seeing other women fat shamed. And like other women are like, yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. So when she says this line of like, men like to equate, they're all thinking, yeah, I'll just be like, hey, I have a type of a certain height. But then the guy will be like, oh, but you're fat. And like, just to be disrespectful. Whereas other people aren't going to interpret it that way because it's not a nuanced take. Realistically speaking, it's all about respect. You can have you're allowed to have any preference you want as long as it's respectful. That's pretty much what it is. That's all it is, right? You're allowed to ask for a taller guy, shorter guy, heavier set guy, skinny guy, as long as you can be respectful. That's it. It's all about respect. You just need to be respectful. It's okay to like tall men. It's okay to like overweight women, or it's okay to like skinny women, as long as you're respectful. That's it. It's all about respect. You can be respectful in like your assertion of your preferences. That's it.
About the girl's weight, and then the others were just pointing out the double standard that women can go on and on about how they want a tall guy, but people like Drew will lose their mind if guys start saying they want a woman who is thin.
That might be true. I'd have to see. You show me an example of that, because I don't know if I've ever seen an example of somebody being reasonable. Wait, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I might have seen something like that. I hope this guy shows me an example, though. It's been a while. I don't know if she's still making the antagonistic content. Probably is, but let me see if I could try to find it. Hopefully this guy shows it.
So Drew says, go get that tall man, queen, but then gets all pissy when people mention that guys generally don't want girls who are overweight or obese. Huh, maybe her focus on that issue has something
it's usually disrespectful when they say
to do with her personal situation.
Maybe.
It's not only hypocritical to say that guys aren't allowed to want what they want while girls are, it's also hypocritical because you have control over your weight, but you can't control your height. And Drew makes fun of things that people can't change all the time. Here's an example of that.
Listen up, James Corden, okay? I can tell you've been hurt. I can tell you've been wronged in a past life, brother. I'm here for you, okay? I just have 2 questions. Number 1, how tall are you? Just as I suspected.
Yeah, sure. That's probably a reason for it. Okay, so here's the one I've been always referencing right here. This guy's just like, just signed up for World War III draft since they love to fight all the time. Just signed our girls up for the World War III draft since they love to fight all the time. Right? A silly joke about how their girls like to fight. And here's Drew's minute and a half.
When I first saw this video, it took my breath away in the worst way possible. I forgot what I was gonna say for a second. Because to keep it 100 with you just for like a quick second, y'all are horrifying to look at, dude. You look like the number 11 standing next to each other like that. Y'all look like a pair of crutches. A pair of chopsticks before
you get the point. All over because they said that. I'm going to see if I can find the other one. Okay, girls that are cute but don't work out. Okay, I don't know if I can play the audio. I'm going to mute it on my side really quick, and then I'll explain it. And then it says girls that are work out 24/7. And then Drew has a disproportionate meltdown, right? So the joke here is that girls that are cute, he specifically says girls that are cute but don't work out, he doesn't want them. Now the trend is to say they're trash. It's part of the trend, but he explicitly says that they're cute, they just don't work out. He wants a girl that works out. Then you see this is a 2.5 long minute video on about a 10-second reaction, and Drew has a disproportionate meltdown shaming this guy. So like, this is the kind of content that's like pearl clutching, nonsensical fucking horse garbage, like dog shit. The guy just says he likes fit girls and he used the trend to say it, and people are having a fucking meltdown over it. It's childish. But you have to, yeah, that's pretty much what Drew does.
Number 2, it's not very big, is it? It's not very big, is it?
Hey, I'm a grower, not a shower. Most men are growers. We need to normalize the understanding of that, okay? This is where men's self-esteem issues come from, all right?
And here's another example from a video where people were reacting to her talking about bulking tips.
Next we have, you've bulked enough, mate.
I don't understand. Are they... What?
Reacting to her talking about bulking tips.
Well, that person's just calling her fat, right? So they said you've bulked enough. They're calling her fat. You've bulked enough, mate. That's so okay.
Next we have, you've bulked enough, mate. What method of transportation do you prefer? Like bike, car, your ears?
First,
they called her fat. Who cares if she makes fun of them? I don't understand.
I wouldn't take diet advice from Drew. Second, if you were asking for bulking tips, then you are probably too much of a beginner to need to bulk. At least at the lower levels, you can build a ton of muscle without getting fat.
Okay, that person just called her fat by saying you've bulked enough. I understand the joke he's making. If you want to make a joke, you're gonna have to be hit. You're gonna get hit back with the joke. I don't understand. Hey, you're fat. Oh, your ears are big. Okay. Well, I can't change that about. Shut up. It's just about being disrespectful. You just don't have to be disrespectful. Like, just stop being, like, I don't care. That's one of the instances where I just don't give a fuck. If you're going to call her fat, like, okay, you're going to get made fun of. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares?
Bulking and cutting cycles are unnecessary. It's called a body recomposition, and you can learn how to do that by watching the many videos that are on it. Here's one of them. As for higher levels of muscles, like competition levels, I'm not sure if the recompositioning method works. Third, this guy points out that she doesn't need to bulk, and not only does she go into his profile to show his username and face, which, by the way...
He wasn't saying that she doesn't need to bulk. She's saying you bulked enough. He was calling her fat.
As for higher levels of muscles, like competition levels, I'm not sure if the recompositioning method works. Third, this guy points out that she doesn't need to bulk, and not only does she go into...
That's not what he was saying. If you think that, either you're in... my brother in Christ. There's no way that you think that he was trying to give reasonable criticisms. You are either... I don't know how to make this criticism without sounding mean. There's no way. You've bulked enough, mate. He's calling her fat. Like, I mean, I make enough edgy jokes to know that. And you know what? You do you. You want to make the joke, then she fucking shredded you for your ears. What do you want me to tell you? Well, he was just giving her advice. No, bro, stop. You can't play this game where he's the victim here. They're both like shit slinging. I just restarted the video. My brothers in Christ. I have to end my life. I gotta finish it off. We're done. We're done. But anyway.
I'm not sure if the recompositioning method works. Third, this guy points out that she doesn't need to bulk, and not only does she go into his profile to show his username and face, which, by the way, in terms of content creation, is considered punching down and low class. The reason for that...
I can't handle it anymore. I can't fucking take it anymore, dude. How are you going to talk about punching down? That's the most beta fucking victimhood bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Every single fucking time. It's always, oh, you're punching down. That's the exact reason why everybody's like, you can't make jokes about this or that. You can't make jokes about anything. You can only make the jokes about white people because it's punching down if you make a silly joke. Bro, okay? Oh, you're punching down. You're doing the same fucking thing. You're being a pussy. Don't say punching down. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate this shit so much. Oh my God. Literally, you're just validating her dumb fucking bullshit white jokes before without even realizing it. I hate the punching down shit. Stop it. It's so childish. It's fucking loser status. Oh, you're punching down. She called her fat, so she responded. Just because you're a little baby nobody fuckface with no content doesn't mean you get to be an asshole without response. Oh, I could say whatever I want about you because I'm not a content. No, you can't. I'm going to fucking grill you, motherfucker. Who cares? Shut the fuck up. I hate it. I hate it. I would expect this from some lefty, liberal, annoying, dumb fucking loser, but from somebody who's clearly more conservative leaning, you're going to be a pussy? Well, it's considered punching down. What do you mean? Oh my God. I hate it. I'm sorry. It makes me so fucking angry to hear. It makes me angry. I'm sorry. I went a little bit off the rails. I didn't mean to be rude. I just hate it. I'm so tired of this victim mentality. Fucking punching down. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you adhere to the punching down narrative, then like everything Drew's doing is 100% fine because she's making content about men, and since men systemically have more power than women, you can't. This is why the punching down argument's dumb as fuck. Like what a weak mentality to have. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so angry about that. I'm sorry. I really went off the rails with that one. Sorry, just need a second. What's up, iNabber? How are you, brother? How are you? God. It's always the did my words offend you crowd that gets offended the most. That's what I'm saying, dude. This is the shit that I hate. Is that, like, we do have a problem with sensitivity in society, but everybody thinks that their sensitivity is okay, but the second that somebody else is sensitive about something, all of a sudden, it's a big fucking problem. We could, like, for instance, you know, people want to sit here and make jokes about gay people. Hey, be my guest. But then they make a joke about a religious person. All of a sudden, everybody who loves to make jokes about gay people all of a sudden is offended. Oh, that's not true. Shut the fuck up. I am sorry that I punched down on your eardrum. I'm just frustrated by it. I just, fuck. It's considered punching down. Oh, I'm gonna punch down my balls until I lose all my testosterone production and turn into a girl. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. You think that if he watched this video, which he probably won't, but he would be like, "Oh, see, that's transphobic," you know? Okay, needed a breather there. I actually got legitimately annoyed and worked up over that. Let's continue.
That is because he doesn't have a platform to fight back.
Okay.
Picking on people who can't fight back is bullying, and I mentioned that because
he can still fight back. He just doesn't have a platform. Oh, it sucks for him. He shouldn't have been fucking making fun of her weight then.
a pretty large portion of Drew's content is picking on people who don't have a platform big enough to retaliate.
Part of that can be true, but that doesn't matter. It's the issue isn't who she picks on. The issue is what their content is about.
Who will then, by the way, also be attacked by her audience. So not only that, but she also makes fun of his ears, which he cannot change, as opposed to him making fun of her weight, which she
Get plastic surgery, bro.
can. Oh, and there is so much cope and gaslighting.
Well, you know, but you can make that argument. Well, he's making fun of the ears. You know what he can change? His attitude. If he didn't want her to respond to her, he didn't have to be disrespectful. Again, be my guest. Make the joke. You look like you bulked a little too much. It's kind of funny. It's rude, but it's kind of funny. But if you're going to make the joke, be ready to get smacked back, motherfucker. Be ready to get smacked back on the joke. I don't understand. Why are we being a pussy here?
Sliding from her in response to the guys pointing out the obesity issue.
What about preferences? Some men just have preferences. They don't want to
True.
date fat women. So prefer in fucking silence, bitch. Nobody's forcing you to date fat people.
Actually, people are
That's true. You can, like, I half agree with that. Like, okay, the way preferences work in, like, the real world is nobody walks up and goes to a girl, yeah, you're too fat for me to date. Or no girl walks up to a guy and goes, you're too short for me to date. That is not, like, a normal human being interaction. On the internet, it's different. If somebody prompts you, it's like, hey, what do you think about overweight girls? Oh, I like them. I like them. It's more for me, you know what I'm saying? I'm married, sorry. But you say, hey, I'm not a big, that's not my preference. That's fine. But like when you unpromptedly give your like perspective on like your, whether it's a, it doesn't matter if it's a guy or a girl. When you unpromptedly give your preference, that's when it starts bordering disrespect. It's crazy.
definitely trying to do that. Here's a viral TikTok of it.
Go.
Hey, bestie! You're wrong.
Sorry.
Definitely trying to do this.
Silence, bitch. Nobody's forcing you to date fat people.
Actually, people are definitely trying to do that.
People are trying to do that, but it's like such an outlier argument. It's not like real. You know what I mean? Like it is true. It's funny.
Here's a viral TikTok of
I remember
it.
this girl. Make fun of this girl because she's stupid, but like nobody's actively actually trying to make this happen in like a real way where society's like, yeah, we got to go for it. You know what I mean? We're all sitting here and this is content. I reacted to her because it's content, because she's a joke. She's just you have to date me because I'm fat. We get to point and laugh. That's who this person is. She exists for our entertainment. Okay?
Bestie!
But like nobody's actually being like that, dude. What you're doing is you're taking an edge case, you're taking an outlier case of a fucking crazy fat person that's saying you have to date me or you're fat phobic. To say that like this is a running narrative. That's like saying that every conservative is fucking racist because the KKK is conservative. Like it's just insane. This is what like you're taking an edge case and you're making the whole group out to that's stupid. My penis is gonna explode.
You're wrong. Having a preference is something like, I'm looking for a partner who likes kayaking, or wakes up early in the morning,
Or isn't fat.
or loves pizza. But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic.
Fucking marginalized. I got lots of margin in me. What is it? Is it called margin? What am I thinking of? The joke died instantly. Margin. Margin? What am I thinking of? I don't care.
Okay, that's not nice. That's not a preference. If you lump all fat people in one group together as though they are not very different individuals, that's
I don't like fat people, whatever.
fatphobic.
And here's another TikTok of that.
Margin? Can we stop calling fat phobic for not wanting to date an overweight person and let people have preferences? Yeah, sure.
This is the perfect video to talk about the fact that thin people feel obligated, like they have the right to talk about larger bodies just because they are in a thin one. If society didn't paint fat people in a negative light, there would be no reason why anybody wouldn't want to date us. But
Be a lot of paint.
instead, you guys want to hold on to this
margarinalized. Margarine. Thank you. Marginal, whatever.
logic that you're not dating fat people all
All right,
on your
we
own,
get it. We found a couple of dumb fucking fat women. We get it. Like,
even though society coerced you into feeling that way. So that is not a preference.
most fat women do not want to force somebody to date them because they don't want to be in a loveless relationship. Okay, most fat women aren't into this kind of shit. Most fat people just want people to stop making comments about their weight unprompted. That's what, regardless of whether it's you look ugly or you look attractive.
A preference is I
just what
prefer
it
blondes over brunettes. Saying you don't date fat people or never want to is absolutely discrimination.
I mean, they have been doing this stuff for years. How many times have you heard the phrase, "We need more realistic female body types in media," which
What are you fucking? Dude? Come on! You're making this hard for me, brother. You're making this hard for me. How are you going to compare people saying you have to date fat people or you're fat phobic to, hey, I wish we could see some more realistic bodies in the media? Those aren't the same thing, motherfucker. That's not the same thing. Hey, you know, I'd like to see a couple fat people every once in a while because I'm fat, or I'd like to see a couple. Hey, I wish that not every woman in the media had big fat boobies and was blonde. Oh, okay. This isn't the same thing, motherfucker. And it goes both ways for men and women. That's not the same thing. That's a reasonable request. Asking, hey, can we see more people like me? That's it. So I feel more comfortable. Now, you might say, well, that's glorifying obesity. I tend to disagree, though. I can understand why it would make people feel better about themselves. So maybe you feel like it would have a less of an impact to make them not want to change. But realistically speaking, people who are overweight probably have an eating problem. Let's be real. I probably have a fucking eating problem. And they stress eat, they cope eat. They're eating shit that our FDA like allows us to eat. We're not getting a lot of exercise. There's a lot more to it. But I don't think shaming fat people is ever going to reduce the amount of fat people that exist, or we wouldn't have so many fat people, right? It's a lot of a dietary problem. It's a lot of like an FDA problem. It's a food addiction problem. It's a coping mechanism problem. It's a massive shift towards technology problem. There's a lot of different issues. But come on, these are not the same thing. These are disanalogous.
is yet again another double standard because the unrealistic body types they complain about are just women who are thin. Meanwhile, you have actual unrealistic standards for men, with shows like He-Man, which depict men with levels of muscle that you can only get when you use steroids.
Bro, a man wrote He-Man. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Oh, listen, first of all, fundamentally, yeah, I think it's cool to have more realistic body types for men. Second of all, the King of Queens, fat guy dating a hot girl. The Flintstones, fat guy dating a hot girl. Family Guy, fat guy dating a hot girl. How many shows can you think of? This is like a standard trope where ugly men get what you would consider unattainable women. Men don't have the same experiences with body image issues that women do. That doesn't mean men don't need inclusivity or whatever. I'm just saying women tend to be more valued for their bodies, and like that has a little more of an impact. When a guy looks at He-Man, guys don't go, oh my god, I'm fat. They just like, ah, fucking cool. It's not the same thing. Don't pretend that it is the same thing. Like, men have different, like, men and women are different, but they have different issues. It's not, like, men's issues would align more with, like, oh, fuck, like seriously, like, oh, my penis size. That's more of a men's issue. So, like, I would be like, yeah, in porn, all you're seeing is fat hogs. And that makes a lot of guys have insecurity problems. That's more of a man's issue. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different, right? It's a little bit different. This isn't like shredding men's identities apart. And in shows, I've seen more like male representation than women. A lot of times women, in some instances, and this shit's changing, like when you introduce a woman character, a lot of times it can be just about their boobies and shit like that, at least historically. You know what I mean? It's just silly, bro. You're being a silly goose. You're gonna bring up fucking He-Man?
Or what about all the male actors and...
Let me see something. When did He-Man first get created? He-Man, let's go with the He-Man Wikipedia. Just look up the He-Man Wikipedia. When was the first show? Was it 1983? 1983. Okay. Let's see. I'm just curious. I'm just curious about Trying to take a look at something. Okay, here's all. Okay, I'm just trying. Okay. I'm just trying to look at the damn picture of like the. Okay, so if you look at this splash art, look at the art here. You got He-Man, muscle guy. This guy's pretty muscular. He's a military guy. Then you got some weird little goblin guy. You have a Beast Man over here. There's a little bit different. They tend to be more aligned with muscular, but there's different kind of guys. Ugly ass Beast guy, crazy ugly skull guy. They're very muscular. Weak little wimpy motherfucker. Big fat titties, big fat titties, big fat titties. The women in representative media tend to be big fat titties, especially back in the day. If you're going to look at He-Man, the cast of characters for women are all attractive, and for the men, they tend to be a little bit more diverse. All I'm saying, bro. A little disanalogous. Why the fuck are you bringing up He-Man, bro? Come on.
In action movies who use steroids to accomplish a 2-year body transformation in 6 months. I think PewDiePie is like the only person who has ever talked about that. Or what about clothes store
Sorry, let me just...
transformation in steroids? Or what about all the male actors in action movies who use steroids to accomplish a 2-year body transformation in 6 months? Okay. I think PewDiePie is like the only person who has ever talked about that.
Maybe. That might be a thing that happens. Okay.
Or what about clothes stores? I've been to a bunch of them, and I've yet to see a male mannequin that is overweight. But I see female mannequins that are overweight all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I just don't think that guys give a shit. I mean, like, personally, I don't see a lot of guys, like, I really wish that they were more, like, inclusive mannequins. I wonder, like, maybe this is just me, but when I go clothes shopping, I'm just like, I need underwear that are comfortable. And I put a shirt on and some pants. And women are a little bit different. Like, it just tends to be the way that, I guess, our society advertises towards people. I don't know if men are drastically more likely to buy if they see a fat mannequin, whereas a woman might feel a little more comfortable seeing a fat mannequin. Like, if you want to advocate for fat male mannequins, be my guest. But I just want to, like, not pretend this is a serious issue that's plaguing men. The bigger issue that's plaguing men is probably tied to the fact that, like, we're seeing fewer and fewer jobs nowadays due to technology displacing jobs and driving down wages, and businesses, like, cutting out middlemen positions, right, and trying to save as much money. And since men tend to be expected to work more or expected to provide more than women, this issue with society and an umbrella has a more profound impact on men, which is having a negative impact on men and their mental health, right? This is how we have a conversation about a legitimate men issues that affects some women, but not as many women, right? So body image issues impacts both men and women, but women higher. When it comes to, like, these types of issues, like money issues, they impact both men and women, but they impact men higher. This is what it's like to have a nuanced conversation about, like, men's and women's issues and how, like, we can, move forward, which you're not doing. You're kind of just playing a little bit of, like, the victim game here, unfortunately. Okay.
I also don't think I have ever seen an overweight male model in the men's section of a clothes store either.
I have. That's just not true.
All of them are either thin or jacked. Yet in the female section, you see varying body types all over the place. Go to your local mall and test this out. You won't be disappointed. The super ironic thing, though, is that Drew actually uses her TikTok to promote a fitness program that she's involved in.
Okay.
Be strong like Drew. Oh, you mean Drew who loves to complain about how much he hates exercise?
What?
I don't ever want to work out. I don't ever want to be here. I procrastinate.
Yeah, this...
How is that like a nay-nay on her? Listen, I know I don't look it, but I used to train, like, for strongman. I used to be a pretty strong guy. I really need to get back into it, but I fell out of it, right? Used to have a 600-pound pull, not super impressive. It's like gym strong, not real strong. Used to have like a 250 log press, not super strong. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I really liked working out. That's not everybody's experience with working out. Nowadays, I need to get back into it, but, like, I don't like to work out. Right? Like, that's what it comes down to. Most people don't like to exercise, especially since, like, I kind of have, like, a fucked up shoulder. So it, like, hurts and shit. But either way. But people still do it, right? That's what usually people who are like, yo, you're fat, you have to work out. Like, those fat people don't just go, you know what? I love jogging or I love, like, lifting weights. That's not what happens. What happens is, like, I have to force myself to do this. I hate it, though. Like, that's what picking up our bootstraps means, right? Like, who cares if she's working out? Who cares if she hates it? Like, who gives a shit? That doesn't own her on that.
This really is the person I want to help train me, the person who hates exercise and gaslights people about how much of a problem obesity is.
You could probably make a better issue. You could probably make a much better argument without shitting on her that this course is probably dog shit. I don't know the course, and I could be completely wrong, but it's an interactive 2-month program.
Strong like Drew.
There's 6 workouts a week that focuses on building strength and confidence. I have never seen it, and I could be incredibly wrong here. But every single time I see a workout like this is how the workouts are, right? I have bad draw, like I'm not great at writing, but here's how the workouts are. Monday, you're gonna bench press 4 sets of 8 to 12. Then you're going to do incline bench for 4 sets of 8 to 12. Then you're going to do chest flies for 4 sets of 8 to 12. Sorry, that's it. The next week when you do bench, next Monday, you're going to come in and you're going to do bench, but you're going to do 4 sets of fucking 6 to 8, right? Like this isn't a routine. These programs fundamentally are designed to keep you using them even though they suck. This isn't a program. This is a numbers and exercises. A program has it has progress is the biggest thing. It has progressive overload. It has deload periods when you need it, or it has deload protocols when you need it. It makes sure that you learn how to properly execute the workout. If you've never worked out before, a 6-day-a-week program, unless it is incredibly low volume, is never going to be good. You want like a 6-day-a-week program? It's a 6-day-a-week program is going to be splitting like a 5x5 routine in half. If you're doing heavier weights, you need to learn the first 1 to 3 months, if you're doing it right, is going to be learning how to properly execute an exercise. Just saying go bench 4 sets 8 to 12. What does that mean? What do I start with? How do I warm up? Am I doing 4 sets of flat 12? Do I increase the weight next week? What do I do? These aren't actual workouts. This is the criticism that you would make for these types of training programs, because they're not really designed to do anything but keep you to use them and be fucking confused, so you feel like you have to continuously pay more. This is not a routine. You want to spend $10 and get a really good routine? Go buy Wendler 5-through-1, the audio, not the audio book, like the ebook. $10. Go buy that. Read through that whole entire book. You can teach yourself how to properly execute like movements, and then you can actually run a decent system that will have progressive overload. Or buy like Mark Riptove's 5x5 Strong List. These are great resources to start working out on, right? But that's a better criticism. Oh, I don't like working out. Who cares if she doesn't like working out? He's also co-signing it. He looks like he's more active in the gym anyway, right? The issue is going to be that it's probably some bullshit, and I don't know if this is true, but it's probably some bullshit, bland ass loser program that doesn't mean shit. 8-week programs do not work. There's no actual workout routine that lasts 8 weeks. Let me do 8 weeks. It takes 8 weeks to get adjusted to like a new program. Those are your first 2 cycles usually. If you're really new to lifting, you'll have like a 1-week cycle basically, because you can like progressively overload every week. But an 8-week cycle doesn't exist. You're supposed to, every time you switch to a new program, your body has to readjust to the type of stimulation, the type of the type of loading, etc., etc. It's not the same thing. Like this isn't a real workout program. 8 weeks doesn't exist unless it's some kind of like cycle on like a mesocycle, whatever. Fucking go look at Mike Israel, right? That's not like a real routine. That might be like a fucking cycle inside of a bigger routine, but it's not. They're just giving you some bullshit 8-week, because the idea is like, I could do that. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. Okay. The name of the book's Wendler 5-through-1. This is a great resource to buy. Wendler 5-through-1. Buy the ebook. Starting Strength is another great ebook, right? By Mark Ripto. These are great ebooks. Okay, I've read the Brandon Lilly Cube Method. This is another good book. It's a solid book. Chad Wesley Smith's book. This is another decent book. I've read the Lilly Bridge Method. I think this is the Lilly Bridge Method. I think so. So many lilies. I would generally recommend Starting Strength or Wendler 5-through-1. Probably the best routine you're ever going to run is Wendler 5-through-1, because you can run it forever. It's super in-depth. It's really solid, right? That's where you want to start. For $10, you don't have to buy some bullshit-ass ebook. For $10, they'll put together a really nice split that will last you years. You, as somebody who's probably more of a casual lifter, will probably never have to ever change your routine. It is incredibly simple, comprehensive, and it's flexible in how you want to run it. That's what you want to do. $10 for a fucking ebook is it will if you run that, it'll change your fucking life. I even found like a version of like Dan Green's like Boss Barbell Method on the internet. I look like Dan Green BBBC. I'm not even trolling you. I'm not trying to make you think like, oh, he's looking at Big Black Cock or something. Dan Green BBBC routine. Somebody looked at that. Let's see if I don't know if I could find it anymore. This was old. This was an old thing. I don't know if I'll find it anymore. You might actually see Big Black Cock if you look it up. It was like a pretty high frequency routine. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it because it's old. This was like years ago when I looked it up. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Sorry.
Oh, you mean Drew, who loves to complain about how much he hates exercise?
I don't ever want to work out. I don't ever want to be here. I procrastinate.
Yeah, this really is the person I want to help train me. The person who hates exercise and gaslights people about how much of a problem obesity is.
I don't know what that means, gaslights people.
Well, actually, this is her boyfriend's personal training program that she rubber stamps to help with the marketing.
Okay.
I did some research on her boyfriend, and without getting into it,
did you jerk off to him?
I have to say that based on what I found, this business would not succeed without her help.
Most businesses wouldn't succeed without... Like, is it a bad business?
Outside of that, and even more ironic, is that one of the major marketing tactics they use to sell this program is her boyfriend's weight loss. Isn't that fat-phobic? Aren't we here to promote health with all kinds of diverse body types?
So what you've shown me so far is nothing that would indicate that this is some kind of like, you didn't get her in a gotcha. She was saying before to keep your preferences quiet, which expresses to me, don't be disrespectful about them. So you're not getting her in a gotcha. She doesn't say, I've never seen Drew say you should be fat and losing weight is fat phobic. She just says don't harass women about being fat. If anything, this makes her look really good because now she's just advocating for you to not bully fat people while also giving people a resource to lose weight, even though I think that the resource is probably abysmal garbage dog shit. But I could be wrong, like I keep saying. Okay? But like, you're not getting her in a gotcha. This is a bad... This is bad. This is a bad video.
Suggesting that you have to be thin to be in shape is super discriminatory, right?
The term in shape means that you need to be fit. You don't have to be thin to be fit. You could be like you could have like a power lifter. Well, powerlifters aren't fit, bro. Some of these guys are fat as fuck. If you read Wendler 531, he's like, he used to be like a really competitive, like really overweight power lifter, excuse me. And he talks about how he lost weight to feel better, and he's still like strong, not as strong, but you know. So anyway, you can like strong men. They're pretty fit. They're fat. I don't know what your point is.
And of course, Drew gaslights about her health by bragging about how much she can lift.
Contrary to what the men on this app who hate me think, your girl does work out pretty frequently. But not because I hate myself, but because I love to feel strong. I'm already taller than most of these men. I might as well be stronger. Here's me deadlifting 225, slight work, you feel me?
Your arteries...
Okay, first of all, 225 is not that much, girl. I haven't lifted in a while, and I could probably easily pull 225, okay? You're not that strong. Second of all, why has I just a gaslight?
Don't care about how much you can deadlift. You can be strong.
225, slight work, you feel me?
Your arteries don't care about how much you can deadlift. You can be strong and unhealthy at the same time.
Sure, but you could also be fat and healthy at the same time. So if you're my weight fat-wise, you're never going to be healthy. I'm way too fat. However, you can be fat and healthy, right? If you eat well, but you overeat. My healthiest I've ever been in my entire life was when I was 330 pounds, and I was like really active, and I was actually pretty physically fit, right? I went to the doctor. I was pre-diabetic at the time. They told me, they ran a bunch of tests. They said, you need to lose this, you need to do this, and this. I lost 20 pounds. I started eating like really well. I started exercising a lot. I was like perfect after that. You can be overweight and fit. It takes a lot more effort, and you have to be careful with what you eat. You can't be eating McDonald's. Is it super likely that you'll be overweight and healthy? Not so much, because you're probably overeating bad foods that aren't very micronutrient dense. You're probably not eating like fibrous fruits and vegetables. You're probably eating McDonald's, which is why you're probably going to be unhealthy. But it is possible. Drew's probably not unhealthy. It's weird to say anytime there's any level of fat on a person that they're instantaneously unhealthy, especially since women tend to deposit more fat than men in general. I'm just saying, like, this is the problem. If you think fundamentally that at Drew's weight, she's probably unhealthy, despite the fact that she's clearly exercising, you're actually unironically just being fat phobic. Only because like you're uneducated as fuck about how like anything. You're like, well, she's fat, so she must be unhealthy. You're the idiot that people are talking about. You're not having the nuanced conversation about being healthy. You just assume fat equals unhealthy so that you can make stupid fucking like loser jokes. But like you can be, it's just incredibly difficult, and you're most likely not going to be. But in Drew's case, the fact that she's not that overweight and she's working out, she's probably not unhealthy. So what the fuck are you talking about? This is a ridiculous. This video is horrible. This video is like uneducatedly dumb. It's like you haven't even made a solid real argument here so far. Oh my god.
Yet certainly for a female, that is a pretty solid deadlift,
Sure.
but in this case, she was comparing herself to men. Personally, I am weak as shit and I can still deadlift 225, and I can do it without dropping the weight like she did. I hope you don't teach your
So show us.
clients to drop the weight like that during the most beneficial part of the exercise.
Oh, you're so uneducated. Holy fuck, you're dumb. I'm not trying to be rude. Jesus Christ, I'm getting angry. Oh my god, you're so dumb. Conventional deadlifts are one of the worst movements you could do. They're really good if you want to have a good deadlift. They are not explosive. They have a very high risk reward ratio. The negatives are the most dangerous part, are arguably one of the most dangerous parts of the deadlift. If you are ever coached into deadlifting, they will always tell you not to slow the weight down on the drop. You put it down. You don't want to throw it because then that's not going to be competition legal. If you let go of the bar, it is not competition legal. But you also don't want to drop it. But you don't want to like pussy the weight down. You put it down. You put it down sternly and quickly because you could fuck yourself up doing a negative on an incredibly heavy deadlift, right? Deadlifts in general, not a great exercise. Really, when it boils down to it. Romanian deadlifts, great. That's RDLs. Stiff-legged deadlifts, those are really good. These are less dangerous. Good mornings are really good. Rack pulls are really solid. When it comes to a deadlift, you don't want to be fucking around, especially a conventional style pull. The biggest issue with conventional style pulls is the fact that you have to pull around your knees. It makes it a very inefficient movement, and it can potentially lead to injury. Especially considering there's a grip strength issue. When your body has grip strength problems, it overcompensates on a deadlift by rounding your back, which will hurt you. The deadlift, and if you're doing a mixed grip, you could potentially tear a bicep. It is the number one most dangerous exercise. And if you've ever like actually educated yourself on this, like I remember listening to Robert Oberst talk about this on Joe Rogan's podcast, you don't ever use deadlifts to train like a competitive lifter. Okay, if you want explosiveness, box squats. Or rack pulls, because then you're going like at the knee or above the knee and it becomes substantially less dangerous, right? You never pussy a weight down on a deadlift. These are ridiculously shallow criticisms from somebody who doesn't know you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. It's the most beneficial part. It is kind of beneficial. You want to have a speed pull on the up and you want to put it down sternly. The drop doesn't matter. And a lot of people, when they're just testing a max, will drop it at the top. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you've seen powerlifters talk about how not to do deadlifts unless you have to. Absolutely. If you've ever looked into... Fuck, I have to remember. Oh, I can't remember this motherfucker's name. Louis Simmons. Louis Simmons is arguably one of the greatest powerlifters of all times. He's an incredibly great powerlifting coach. Westside Barbell, you ever hear this? He talks about how a lot of his lifters won't deadlift because it's like injury ridden. It can be very injury ridden. And a lot of times they'll use like squats, they'll use like good mornings, they'll use stuff like that to supplement the deadlift. It takes a long time to recover from as well. It'll tax your central nervous system. Okay? It's a good, if you want to deadlift, be my guest. But this is like weird misinformation for somebody who's claiming to be like this. Like you're over policing Drew on like the dumbest criticisms when there's plenty of things to criticize her for. And now you're like, oh, that's the most beneficial part of the deadlift. What? Okay, come on, bro. Come on, give me a break. You're over policing. This is petty.
Now we only saw her do half of one rep, so it is possible that this is her 1 rep max. I have to say that it only takes a few months of training for a guy to get a 1 rep max of 225 on a deadlift. This is not really something to brag about. Of course,
So show us your 225 pull.
Of course, she also gaslights in a follow-up video saying that she wasn't bragging.
So if people
What do you think the word gaslight means? I don't understand.
the new trend, right? Of all these gym bros using my video of me deadlifting to fat shame me. I want to talk about the context from
I mean, this person literally did fat shame her. She's like, look at my deadlift. And then he's like, yeah, well, it doesn't mean that your arteries aren't clogged. Okay, cool.
where that video came from. The one that they're all using, I want to tell you what it's from. That video is from an ad that I posted back in January, bitch.
Okay.
But the ad itself is literally a campaign where I'm reminding people with uteruses to go get their pap smears.
What? What did
Did you hear what I said? The way that y'all can't do anything right.
I don't even know what's happening because I feel like he's just not showing us the right video. I don't know what's happening here.
That is some massive cope. Sure.
What does the pap smear thing mean? Either she's completely insane or you're just not showing us the right thing. So I don't know what to even believe anymore because you've been incredibly dishonest in this video.
You were just selling a product and weren't trying to brag at all. You just so happened to include, look how strong I am, in that video.
What?
A point that had zero relevance to the ad.
What? Did it? I don't... Oh my God. I feel like I shouldn't have to do as much like independent research on a video of like a video essayist putting a video together about somebody. I mean, my real question here is like, do you believe in your content with how, I mean, I understand I do lazy content because I just do reactions, but like, I just feel like you've kind of shattered your credibility to any like new person looking at your, I mean, like I just personally wouldn't want to be the kind of content creator that's just trying to keep all my fans like returning. I don't want to be the guy that puts off new people watching their content by not like investing like a decent amount of time being comprehensive about it. Because, like, so far, you'd have to, like, really... I can't even find the original video first. You'd have to, like, really just hate Drew to listen to this video and, like, be like, this is a really solid video. That's the problem. And, like, there was really not... It just didn't do a very good job of, like, setting the stage. I'm going to try to find this video. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to find it.
That ad on cervical cancer just came out of nowhere. Marketing 101, typically you want to tell a story that is relevant to what you're selling. Like a heartfelt story about a family member or a friend who got cervical cancer, or some sort of anecdote that the advertiser gives you.
Sure.
I know I've said this term a lot, but holy crap, this girl gaslights and lies about everything, including her relationship. When people say things like, hey, you aren't really displaying behavior that good men are attracted to, she's like, guess what? I have a man.
Men who fucking hate me will watch my videos and be like, why would you listen to this girl? Listen to this girl if you want to be alone forever. I've been with my man for 5 years, bitch.
Bro, how are you going to overuse the term gaslight? You're a literal Twitter 14-year-old girl. This person making this video is a 14-year-old Twitter girl. You're gaslighting everything. You are the person that doesn't know what the word grooming means and calls everything grooming. Like, you are that person. You are doing the same thing. You're not accurately using words. You're being ridiculous. I can't find this fucking... I can't even find this deadlift video. I don't understand. I'm still looking. Just letting you know.
When people point out that she probably is not in a good relationship or he probably won't marry her, she continues to gaslight.
And every time
What do you mean? What are you, an idiot? Bro, it's getting hard for me to be charitable. So people think that because Drew is kind of a cunt, sorry, no offense, on the internet, that somehow she has a non-functioning relationship. If people point out that she probably isn't doing well, what are you an idiot? Like, I don't like Drew, but like people are like, you have a shitty relationship. Why? Fundamentally, as obnoxious I think your content is, if this was my wife, I would just think her content sucked. And I would be bored with it. I would be fucking bored with it. Right? But I wouldn't care. This doesn't reflect poorly on her. She's just being an annoying asshole. I used to make super fucking edgy jokes all the time on my TikTok. You think my wife was like, this is incredible. No. But our marriage is going great. So what are you talking about? She's gaslighting people. No, she's not. She's correcting idiots who think that her relationship is falling because they don't like her content. This isn't gaslighting. What do words mean to you? What the fuck do words like? What? Manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. You think that her saying I have a good relationship is a gaslight? You're gaslighting me. Damn. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ.
I say 5 years, men are gonna be like, but still hasn't married you, has it? We're not in the 1950s, bitch. I don't need him to open a bank account. We're gonna get married when we're ready.
Okay,
5 years is a long time. Either shit or get off the pot. You're 20.
Who are you dating? Who's your girlfriend? How old are you? Who's your wife?
The number of female
Who are you doing anything with? What's going on in your life? In my experience, of course it's somebody without, like, do you have any of your face attached to any of your content? I'm not trying to be a fucking dickhead, but in my experience, the biggest relationship coaches that seem to have all the criticism about relationships don't show their face. You don't know what their age is. They tend to be young and they tend to not be in relationships with people. It wouldn't be surprising if you're single as fuck. I don't know. What are you talking about?
I'm already taller than most of them.
I'm trying to find the original video here.
6, and I'm sure he's a similar age considering that you went to high school together. At your age, you should know within a year whether or not someone is marriage material. And
so dumb. Oh my God. You're 8. Why? Says who? How old is she? How old is she even? Oh my God. She's 26. What are you talking about? That's relatively young. She's been with somebody for 5 years. I mean, like, it's so fucking boring. Holy fuck, this is ridiculous. It's always my favorite when people force me into a position to defend this person. Now I have to like, oh yeah, you know, your content is garbage. All right, so apparently this is the original video about her deadlift.
Y'all about something funny and important. Hey, I want to talk to y'all about something funny and important. Contrary to what the men on this app who hate me think, your girl does work out pretty frequently. But not because I hate myself, but because I love to feel strong. I'm already taller than most of these men. I might as well be stronger. And just to give y'all a little taste, here's me hip thrusting 415. And here's me actually thrusting it for those who want to say otherwise. Here's me deadlifting 225, you know, slight work, you feel me? But weightlifting and going to the gym are just some of my favorite ways to stay strong and stay healthy. And some other ways that I love to ensure the overall health and wellness of my body is scheduling a routine Pap screening. For those of you who don't know, this month is Cervical Health Awareness Month, and cervical cancer was once the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in people with a cervix. But thanks to the Pap screening,
I mean, I get it. Trans men have cervixes too, but okay, whatever.
thousands of lives have been saved. So make sure you schedule your routine Pap screening, and let's all be healthy, strong baddies together.
All right, so she made an ad for getting a Pap smear, and people were criticizing her, and she's like, you know, that was over a Pap smear video, right? Oh, because people were probably stitching her video deadlifting. Okay, whatever. Like, I think that's funny. They're probably deadlifting and be like, you're weak. Ha ha ha. That's funny. That's fine. Okay, whatever. I don't know why I investigated so much into that.
It's important because contrary to the belief of millennials and Zoomers, you don't have forever to do stuff. As marriage, I'm sure he's a similar age considering that you went to high school together. At your age, you should know within a year whether or not someone is marriage material. And that's important because contrary to the belief of millennials and Zoomers, you don't have forever to do stuff. There's a time limit to everything, which is why you shouldn't be wasting massive segments of your life, like 5 years in a relationship that isn't going to lead you to what you want. From my perspective, it doesn't sound like he wants to marry you.
Why?
Maybe there's a reason for that.
Why do you think that? What makes you feel like he doesn't want to marry her? Because she hasn't gotten married? She's dating. First of all, oh my God. Jesus, it's like I'm talking to an actual child. Holy fuck. Okay. First of all, she's 26. If they started dating at 21, it's a little bit different. You're younger. You probably haven't explored as much. So maybe they don't want to take this step. Also, getting married can be like a pretty big psychological step as well, because then you feel like you're bound to that person, right? Like, whether you want to get married or not, who cares? It's their relationship. Nothing that she shows to me demonstrates that she's a bad partner. Like, what is it she's doing that makes her such a bad partner? Why are you so invested in her being a bad partner in a relationship? Like, why is that such a huge portion of this video? This is just weird. It's weird. When you get older, and I'm going to say like 30s, not even mid 20s, when you get towards your 30s, it could take months, if even that much, to be like, I love this person. Because by the time you're 30, you should be emotionally mature. You should be emotionally balanced. You should be like pretty together. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know what boundaries you want to set. And then once you meet somebody, you can be like, let's see if our boundary setting is compatible. And you know how much of your boundary you're willing to like let go of a little bit based on the relationship. Because there's always going to be give and take, right? But when you're 26, when they started dating at 21, that's not something that you're going to be having. What are you talking about? Now, they very well may not work out together, but nothing shows any demonstration of that. And it's a really weird, awkward situation to constantly be like, what kind of relationship are they? Like, who cares? Why are you so invested? Why are you so invested? Have you ever fucked a girl before? I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, it just feels like you have no experience with anything. And like, you are the guy. I don't know if I said this in this video. You're the guy that's never dated before that's giving out relationship advice. Like, come on.
If we're talking clubbing or bar hopping with your girlies, girl, I firmly believe that you should let these cis hetero men buy you and your friends drinks all night long. Don't pay for a single thing. I don't even think you should bring a wallet. You should bring nothing but your good energy to the club. These men, girl, they will break the bank for potential coochie.
True.
They would do that. And you know what? That is none of your business. And no, you shouldn't feel bad. They're not talking to you because they want to know your favorite color. They're trying to get some ass.
True.
Let me do some math here. She's around 25 in this video.
Right, so this is basically why hookup culture in this capacity, club culture, is dumb. Because women, yeah, they can get to the club for free and they get you to buy them drinks for free and they don't have to fuck you. That's the reality, and that's fine. Go date. You shouldn't be fucking around like that anyway. Go build relationships and learn how to be a functioning fucking human being. You know, you can still get your fucking dick wet, but like, I mean, okay. whatever. Like, I don't care. She's playing the game just like you're playing the game. That's what happens. Sometimes you play the game, you win. Sometimes you play the game, you lose. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
The legal drinking age is 21. Her and her boyfriend have been together for 5 years.
Okay.
So assuming that she didn't have a fake ID, she's been accepting drinks and flirting with other guys regularly for most of their relationship.
That wouldn't ever communicate to that. She just said that you could do this to get free drinks.
Drinks aren't free. Guys are buying them for a reason, and she said as much. I don't know about her boyfriend, but I would be pretty mad if my girlfriend was flirting with other guys to the extent where she actively recommends that to other people on a public forum and doesn't think that's a problem.
Personally, I guess I would too. I don't know if I'd even care. If my wife was like, I'm going to go flirt with guys for free drinks at the club, I'd be like, okay, like, be safe. Make sure you call me if anything gets too handsy. I'll beat the fuck out of them. I just don't think I'd care that much, especially if she's with her other friends. She can't go home with one of the guys, but like, I don't care. Like, if maybe they're just really, maybe they're fine with their relationship. Maybe he's there watching. Maybe you're overthinking it because you're fucking scoping so hard.
Most personal trainers don't make that much, so Drew at some point might be looking for an upgrade. Speaking of fitness, to her credit, Drew used to be thin and in pretty good shape. Here's a picture of that from her early days on TikTok.
Okay.
You can see that she used to take care of her health, but has now stopped doing that.
She's literally working out at the gym. It seems regularly. Why isn't she taking care of herself? Because she's a little thicker. Like, I doubt that level of weight, especially with her activity level, if she's portraying it correctly, is going to lead to an unhealthy body.
For her boyfriend, I would also be mad about that. I think for either party, not taking care of your appearance is an insult to your partner.
Okay, thanks for being somebody. Dude, I want to call you the R-star so bad. Not for nothing, but like, okay. So listen, you shouldn't, obviously try not to gain weight. That's not a good thing to do unless you're like super skinny. But like, generally speaking, this is like a pretty old stereotype and a trope. When you get into like a relationship that you're happy with, you gain weight. So like, if anything, this could display that they have a good relationship because she gained some weight. Like, none of this really matters. This is just dumb, but...
And seriously, do people just forget that sex is an important part of a relationship?
You certainly probably don't understand that.
I'm not saying that you have to be cut like a Greek god or a Greek goddess, but you should at least look like you're trying.
What does that mean? What does this mean? Bro, get some pussy, bro. Come on.
Wait, how does she deadlift with those long nails? Now I'm curious. Last, Drew seems to think that doing any sort of housework or taking care of your partner is misogyny. She reacted to a video of this teenage
show me that.
girl talking about her relationship. I'm not going to show it because there's music in the background.
So then don't bother talking about it.
But the girl basically says that she understands her boyfriend's needs.
I almost guarantee that that's not true. Oh, okay. See if I can find her TikTok. Which video is it?
Yeah. I'm not going to show it because there's music in the background, but the girl basically says that she understands her boyfriend's needs, gives him a massage.
Show me the video. Show me the video. I can't take what you're saying accurately because you're incredibly dishonest. So I need you to show me her video so that I can watch it myself, because I mean, maybe what you're saying is true, but like, you have no credibility. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not going to show it because there's music in the background, but the girl basically says that she understands her boyfriend's needs, gives him a massage when he's in pain after a workout, and gives him food. Sounds sweet, right? It sounds like she
if that's exactly what's happening, sounds great. But I mean, who can trust you? I don't understand.
Actually cares about the person she's with. Well, here's good old Drew telling her how things really work in the adult world.
When dating an athlete, females need...
No.
I really need to try to find this girl's content. When dating an athlete isn't enough pretext to understand this part of the video. All right, so here's the video. He said it got DMCA'd because of okay, the video wasn't bad at all. It was just a girl saying that if you have like a really good athlete boyfriend, to take care of them, cook for them, pamper them, treat them as good as they treat you. If there are girls that watch them play, don't get jealous, because of course other women are going to get their attention. That's a completely non-problematic video. I just wanted to confirm that it is a 100% non-problematic video here. Okay, letting you know that. I'll put it in the description so that you can watch it yourself.
Dating an athlete, females need...
No. I know she's 13. I know she's a fetus, so I'm not going to attack her personally. However, this argument, it's not it, sis. Take it from me, okay? I'm 25 years old. I spent my whole young adult life dating athletes, okay? Aside from the obvious...
Damn. How many trains you got run on you?
Internalized misogyny that this video is rife with. We need to talk about the messaging behind this, okay? Last time I checked, they didn't live in my uterus for 9 months. And you know what that means?
What?
Not their fucking mom. That's what that means. It is very possible to be a supportive and loving partner to someone without being their fucking servant.
How is helping...
Yeah, no, Drew's an idiot on that one. The girl was just like, you should take care of your athlete boyfriend. You don't have to do that. It's up to your defined relationship contract, whatever you want to do. That girl was just talking about her experience with her athlete boyfriend or whatever, and it was fine. And she wants to take care of them, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting a more traditional relationship. There's nothing wrong with, especially if it's a hardworking, like, millionaire athlete. If you, as a woman, want to take more of like a, I wouldn't even call it a subservient role. I'd just call it like a home care role. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's fine as long as you're being respected. There's no issue whatsoever. Drew is coping incredibly hard here. Drew, you don't have to project your relationship or your insecurities in a relationship onto everybody else. It's totally fine if somebody wants to do that for their partner. So this was a miss from Drew. Like, obviously, yeah, she completely missed the point. If the girl said this is how you should treat all men and all women should be subservient to all women should be subservient to men, that's a problem. But if you're like, hey, I like having a more traditional relationship, okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Your boyfriend with what he needs being a servant. It's called being in a reciprocal relationship. She does things for him and he does things for her.
Sure.
Do you not do nice things for your boyfriend, like cook a meal, buy him a gift, or take care of him when he's sick or in pain?
This is just like your argument. Your counter argument still sucks.
I mean, yeah, Drew promoted his personal training business, but I'm not so naive that I think she's not taking a cut of that in exchange for the promotion. Also,
What?
I've heard her multiple times refer to common house chores that everyone has to do as slave labor.
Work and you both go to work, she still comes home to cook for you. Because she understands.
Okay, first of all, your argument against it was still dog shit. Like, your argument was just like, it's called reciprocation. Like, yes, I guess, but like also, you should. Her argument here was that women are okay. Her fundamental argument is that all traditional relationships basically are like slave labor for women. Some women like relationships like that. It's not that big of a deal. Your argument against it just sucks. Like, okay, whatever. Let's get back. Okay, whatever.
Everyone has to do as slave labor.
Work and you both go to work, she still comes home to cook for you. Because she understands taking care of a man is longevity with that man. Bro, you want short-term relationships, they don't take care of them.
Yeah, so there, what I would say is that, like, I'm in a relationship where my wife gets home and she usually cooks for me, but I'm going to cook tonight. Like, realistically speaking, if you and your wife both work, as a man, you should be taking care of what needs to be taken care of by helping your woman, and vice versa to the women. So, like, if you're home, like, sometimes she cooks, sometimes you cook, or maybe she cooks and you do the laundry, or maybe you take out the garbage, or maybe you vacuum. I don't know. It's up to you to create your own relationship contract. But, like, this guy obviously is just trying to say, even if you both work, women should still do more than men. And that's the problem, is that he's living in like a sexist ideology. If a woman wants to do more than men, that's fine. If that's your relationship contract, that's fine. But you should understand as a man that you should be chipping in. If you're both working an equal number of hours, you should be chipping in. Or unless your work job is harder physically, maybe you're a construction worker and she just works at the local Target. Your job's probably a little more physically demanding. Then, yeah, okay, maybe you have that relationship contract of like, you do this and that. But, okay, I could see where the criticism is going to lie.
Takes care of her man or works
I'm making beef stroganoff.
for him like she's working retail. Let's be really fucking clear about what we're talking. Her man
Relationships, they don't take care of them.
takes care of her man or works for him like she's working retail. Let's be really fucking clear about what we're talking about, bitch. Because what you just described, that's a maid or your mom.
This just says to me, dirty house and can't cook. I mean, I'm not a fan of these yeah bro channels that she's responding to either, but damn.
Okay.
Making a meal doesn't make you a servant. It makes you generous.
Right, but that guy's argument was that a woman should do more than a man does in a relationship, basically. Like, even if you work the same number of hours, he said the woman should still be cooking and cleaning for you. Or that I could see why, or cooking. I could see where the issue comes from.
From an outside perspective,
I'm making turkey stroganoff, sorry.
It doesn't really sound like Drew is all that nice to her boyfriend, so I wouldn't be surprised if they don't end up married. And my question is,
do you want to marry her? Like, what's happening here?
How much are you going to lie about the reality of your situation? The amount of gaslighting in that first video that I showed is ridiculous. Clearly, the negative comments bother her.
Every platform that I've built by my fucking self, including my show, is a safe space for my followers and anyone else who's looking for representation or giggles.
If it doesn't bother you, then why would you need a safe space? Why not just teach your followers to be strong like you? Also, no, you don't get to do that. You're doing this on a public forum, and you have basically spent this whole time saying, I can say horrendous things about you, but if you say anything bad about me, then you're fatphobic and misogynistic, and I'm going to send all my followers after you because you made a comment unprovoked. That doesn't make you strong, it makes you a coward. Personally, for me, I don't care at all about the name calling from these people. I believe in free speech, so if you want to call me an incel or make fun of my voice, then go ahead. On that note, though, what I do find ironic is that woke people will say that you aren't allowed to say certain words.
You're woke. Just want you to understand that you are woke. You're woke. You think you're not, but you're the same woke and more. You're constantly calling things gaslighting. You're overly sensitive. And you talk about punching down. You are woke too. It's not just fucking far lefties that are woke. You're woke. And when I say wokeness equals victim complex, usually, right? Like, you're doing the same bullshit that the other side does. You're just as much of a fucking pussy. Just as much of a fucking pussy, dude. So, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're the overly sensitive guy. That's what you're doing.
Because it will lead.
I believe in free speech. Okay, me too. What's your point? I believe in free speech, but you shouldn't be able to punch down, guys. Oh, okay. So you don't believe in free speech. Freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences, brother. I don't know what you want to tell you. I believe in free speech, but if I say a mean thing to somebody who's a smaller content creator, or if I say something mean to somebody who's a big content creator, they shouldn't be able to criticize me. Why? What do you? This is what you're saying. You said this before. It was so. This guy just called her fat. That he responded by making fun of her ears, or she responded by making fun of his ears. And that's punching down. That's the same as like some black people that call white people like mayo monkeys, and then we're like, hey, that's kind of racist, and they're like, no, it's not. Don't come after me. Sorry, black people. I shouldn't have used you as an example. Sounds a little racist to me. I'll use a different group of people. That's like the most marginalized group in the world. Gamers criticizing Chads, and then when the Chads, they're like, your dick's too big. You probably hurt women, and then the Chad's like, oh well, show me your dick. And they're like, oh my god, stop punching down. Is that better? That makes more sense.
Lead people to self-harm, yet they brutally trash incel. People will say that you aren't allowed to make fun of my voice, then go ahead. On that note, though, what I do find ironic is that woke people will say that you aren't allowed to say certain words because it will lead people to self-harm, yet they brutally trash incels, who are a group of people who have massive issues with self-harm.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. Incels. Wow. Incredible. Listen, I'm not going to shit on incels because I understand that there are some issues in the life of an incel. Now, I covered a video on my Popular Leftover channel, which you're better off just watching the core video because it was good. But I like my reaction better because I make money if you watch it. Right? Right here. The Rise of Incels by Cole Hastings. Very good video. I have it sourced down here if you'd rather just watch his actual video. Or you can watch mine. It's up to you. It's a really solid, in-depth analysis about incels, why they exist, and how things work. A lot of the reason that incels exist is because they struggle a little bit with women, and they don't have a father figure, probably, to build them up better and help them overcome being rejected, which happens to everybody constantly, even people who are like attractive. And then they go on internet forums and they look for affirming things that will affirm that their feelings that women suck. Right? That's the reality. As an incel, you need to learn to be a more functioning human being. Right? I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I personally, while I can feel for some incels that struggle with women, I can also not pretend that they are the most victimized group in society. Okay? If you're somebody who hasn't had... I didn't have sex until I was like 20 years old, brother. It is what it is. But I never developed a hatred for women. Eventually, I was able to get some pussy, and I was able to be a normal person. Okay? Like, let's be careful about portraying incels as like the most, like, an individually oppressed group. All right? It's a little weird. But okay.
But at the same time, also this.
And the deeper down you...
People who have massive issues with self-harm. But at the same time, also this.
Okay. And the deeper down you go into black pill territory in the incel side, you go from red pill, PUA stuff to black pill, you become more suicidal. Which is part of the reason why I always say every guy's a fucking 7, okay? They will be interpreted as a 7 if you do a couple different things. What are those things? Immediately fucking figure out how to groom yourself, okay? Shower. Figure out what kind of facial hair works for your face. Figure out what kind of hair works for your head. Figure out how to dress. What kind of clothes work for your body. What kind of style you like. Go to the fucking gym. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Work out. Work out.
Okay.
Work out.
Solid
Work out.
advice.
Work out. Okay. You might be too skinny. You might need to put on some weight. Put on some muscle mass. You might be a little overweight. You might need to lose some, cut some belly fat, trim some fat.
It really boils down to get confidence. I mean, and smell decent. Like this is great advice, but you don't even have to go that far. Just make sure you shower regularly and try to develop some confidence. The way you do that is by dating and failing, and it's perfectly fun. It's really not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like this is all great advice. I just I wonder what the context is for Drew from Sasan.
Fat overall, healthier diet and a healthier workout will literally create more confidence within you. Okay. Make long-term goals and short-term goals and midterm goals. Those midterm goals and short-term goals will then inevitably help you reach the long-term goals.
I very much do not know what to think of Hassan. On one hand, his self-improvement advice like this is very accurate. On the other hand, he also does a lot of awful things and constantly steps on his own standards. But anyway, I believe in...
I like how you showed like a Hassan moment that was like a solid advice, and then you were like, I don't really know what to think of Hassan because this was solid, but I need you guys to make sure that that I still don't like him. Like you're even afraid to use Hassan as a reference in your own video. So
free speech, therefore the negative commentary is fair game. What I don't like though is the idea of I want to be able to attack people, but they shouldn't be able to say things back. Mixed in with the institutional power
okay, whatever.
Backing woke people up and the constant moral grandstanding from these people about how great of a person they are, when in reality, people like Drew are incredibly prejudiced. The minute you don't agree with them on absolutely everything they have to say, you are the worst person in the world.
That's what I was saying before, though, about how like most of the criticism directed at Drew is from people who just like they just don't have any good arguments. This is why she's not going to debate you, because you don't know what the fuck you're on about. You can't even you haven't like this video sucks.
It blows my mind that people who are still at this point planning on voting for Trump. You know how I know that they're either just a bigot in disguise or just truly an unintelligent big fat dummy? You know how I know? Because those people like to be like, I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. Those people love to claim that they're not a bigot. That's not why they're voting for him. It's the tax plan. It's Biden's tax plan. Bitch, you don't even make...
What is she saying?
$45K a year.
Wow.
I don't even know what her argument was. I have to re-listen to it.
They're who are still at the
worst person in the world.
It blows my mind that people who are still at this point planning on voting for Trump. You know how I know that they're either just a bigot in disguise or just truly an unintelligent big fat dummy? You know how I know? Because those people like to be like, I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. Those people love to claim that they're not a bigot. That's not why they're voting for him. It's the tax plan. It's Biden's tax plan. Bitch, you don't even make $45K a year.
Wow.
Okay, wow. All right, so I think that she's saying that Biden's tax plan is good for the everyman, and that if you think it's bad, then you're dumb. I don't even remember the Biden tax plan. I don't really care. Okay, I mean, it seems like kind of a Twitter brain moment. It's a TikTok brain moment, yeah. This is so fucking stupid.
Wow, way to show empathy towards others, and what a wonderful attempt to understand people who believe things that are different from you and why they believe them.
I mean, you're doing the exact same thing. You're not doing anything to try to understand where Drew's coming from, even though she is an antagonistic idiot.
This is how I know you aren't actually good at debate, and why I think that first video I showed of you is just you making excuses to avoid discourse.
Debate me, liberal.
Every part of that video was gaslighting.
You don't know what the word gaslighting means.
It's about as honest about why she doesn't want to debate as Hassan is honest about why he won't fight Sam Hyde. That's the actual problem with these kinds of people. It's not their political views. It's more so why he won't fight Sam Hyde. Gaslighting. Drew is about as honest about why she doesn't want to debate as Hassan is honest about why he won't fight Sam Hyde.
Why? He doesn't want to share clout. That's like his general argument. That's a very honest argument. I mean, he would lose because Sam Hyde's been training for a while. But like, why is that a bad argument? You literally could have talked about how Hassan refuses to have actual conversations despite the fact that he came from the political sphere and he constantly says dumb shit politically, and that's why he's drifted away from politics, because he'd get owned. Like when he had like really bad takes on Russia and whatnot. Like you could have just compared it to that, but Sam Hyde, I guess, is better. So.
That's the actual problem with these kinds of people. It's not their political views. It's more so that they are modeling not being honest with themselves to an audience who will then absorb that behavior. I would much prefer a Drew Afualo who says, you know what, it actually does hurt my feelings when people call me fat, over a Drew Afualo who is clearly pretending to not care when she actually does. Now, certainly being dishonest to other people is a problem, but some of the most harmful dishonesty is dishonesty towards yourself, because everyone has problems and people who lie to themselves don't improve their situation. Dishonesty about obesity leads to people living half as long with...
Did you read this on a fortune cookie? Like, is that where your script's from? What's happening right now?
Twice as many health problems. Dishonesty situation. Dishonesty about obesity leads to people living half as long with twice as many health problems.
What dishonesty did she? You didn't show us any instance that she was being dishonest about obesity and having health problems. Like, what if this is true? Show us in the video essay that you made that was a half-hour long. Why did she show us that part in there? Because you didn't show us anything that's about her being dishonest about health problems.
Dishonesty about your relationships will lead you to being around a lot of pathological people who will make your life miserable. There are no safe spaces to protect you from that. If you keep lying to yourself and softening your language, then you'll never learn the lesson your problems are trying to teach you, and bad things will just keep happening to you. One of the most dangerous things that woke people promote is problem avoidance. Now, if you have trouble with the kind of self-reflection that will lead you to being able to solve these problems, then you can start by simply lying less. The less you lie and the less you distort reality, the more effective you will get at identifying your problems and finding effective solutions. The reason honesty is seen as a good virtue is because you can't problem solve without it. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
It was abysmal dog shit. Holy fuck. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. This video is really bad. I really tried to give that like a good run from the beginning, where I was like, okay, maybe this won't be so bad, and it just got so bad. It got so bad. Is dunking on a Hassan a virtue signal now? Arguably, yeah. You could argue that dunking on Hassan is a virtue signal. To be honest with you, yeah, depends on the situation. Especially considering in that moment that he tried to dunk on Hassan, the original one, where Hassan gave good advice to incels, and the guy still needed to make sure that you knew that he didn't like him. It was a virtue signal. Everyone, thank you so much for watching, and a special shout out to all my Patreon patrons, my YouTube members, and my Twitch subs. If you'd like to learn how you can contribute even more than you already are by simply watching the video, you can check the links down below, which will unlock a special feature depending on the platform that you subscribe to, such as Patreon here that will get your name right here on this wall. Thank you so much, guys, again for watching, and have a good one.